Today, June the 10th. I'm thankful that everyone is here. Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Mayor Brooks.
Here.
Councilwoman McKenzie.
Here.
Councilman Estes.
Here.
Councilman Cassidy.
Here.
Councilman May.
Here.
Councilman Hughes.
Here.
Councilman Webb.
Here.
Vice Mayor Johnson.
Here.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. As is our tradition, we will begin today with our invocation and pledge. We will stand first for the pledge, but if we could, Vice Mayor Johnson, please remember a local pastor and friend of the entire city, Mr. Max Morris. I would ask for us to remember him as he is very, very ill and has been a friend of the entire city. Salute and pledge. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let's pray. Father, once again, we want to thank thee for your blessings, dear God. And as we begin our prayer, Lord, we want to pray a special blessing upon Max Morris and others, dear God, that have contributed so much to the success of our community. We pray, Lord, that you continue to watch over us and guide us and protect our people and protect our city. Thank you, Lord, for those blessings seen and unseen. And we just pray now as we go into our agenda items, Lord, as everything that we do and say will be pleasing and acceptable in thy sight. Continue, dear God, to show us the things that we need to do, and bless all of our employees, dear Heavenly Father, who have done such a great job. And continue to be with us throughout this meeting, throughout this day, and watch over our families. In your holy name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Vice Mayor. I know the Morris family will appreciate those prayers and support. Next item on the agenda is to waive the reading of the minutes from the last regular session, which was May 13, 2024, and that does require a motion from the council.
Mr. Mayor, I move that the City Council of the City of Cleveland waive the reading of the minutes of the regular session of the City Council held on May 13th and approve them as written.
Second.
That's a proper motion by Vice Mayor Johnson, properly seconded by Councilman May. Any comments, questions, or concerns, changes to those minutes? Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Vice Mayor Johnson.
Aye.
Councilman May.
Aye.
Councilman Cassidy.
Aye.
Councilman Hughes.
Aye.
Councilman Webb.
Aye.
Councilwoman McKenzie.
Aye.
Councilman Estes. Carries 7-0.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. That motion passes. It takes us to item 5, which is special presentations and public comments. We do have one registered public comment, and that is Miss Sharon Marr from Main Street and Mr. Ben Berry, a member of the Main Street Board. Mr. Berry is speaking on behalf of Main Street. Mr. Berry, you're recognized.
Thank you. I'll be very quick. Ben Berry, President of the Main Street Board. We're very excited about everything that the city's doing downtown Emmons Street. I know that Johnston Park design is on your agenda today, and we're very excited about that project. As a board, we were asked kind of our informal opinion about the gazebo, whether it should stay or whether it should go, and we presented that to our board, and our board voted unanimously that they'd love to see that incorporated as part of the design, if that was possible. And so the 1 o'clock presentation, we're excited to kind of see that be a part of there and have the old historic, or the old original design that we could reference back. And, you know, as far as that gazebo goes, just a, for what it's worth, you know, that Johnston Park has not been part of our Christmas decorations up to this point. We're excited about pulling it into that. But last year we actually just added some garland and some bows to that gazebo, just something pretty minimal. And that ended up being one of our most liked Facebook photos of the year, even in its current state. Surprised me as well. But I think there's a lot of public support for it, so we're excited to see it be part of the design. We're hoping that it can be renovated, incorporated, and kept in there. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Berry. Grateful for those public comments. Any other public comments about this agenda item or any other? I failed earlier to recognize our special guest, Commissioner Tommy Ledford from the Bradley County Commission. Commissioner, we're always grateful for the partnership with our colleagues at the county. Thank you for being here today. It's a lengthy meeting. I'll go ahead and warn you in advance. Item number 6 on the agenda is to hear petitions and communications. This is item A, which is a public hearing to hear public comments concerning a request by Lynn Jones for consideration of a plan of service, a resolution to annex, and an ordinance to zone 87.5 acres for property located at the corner of Michigan Avenue and Wilkinson Road. It is being zoned from unincorporated county to PUD 51, and it was approved 8-0 by the Planning Commission. I'll now declare this hearing to open. Mr. Varnell, you have comments from the staff?
Yeah, just to go over a couple of points real quick on this one. Public hearing covers the plan of service, the annexation request, as well as the zoning. Within the zoning, instead of a light industrial straight across the board zoning, staff chose to design a PUD that would increase buffers and landscaping, as well as include infrastructure improvements within it, so that the frontage along Michigan Avenue could be improved by the applicant. The applicant is aware of what's in the PUD and agreeable to it. The original design of the site went to the Planning Commission in April. The Planning Commission asked if they would take another look at a few components. And so the applicant came back in the following month and with a new design where all of the truck traffic is internal to the site and then accesses directly to Michigan Avenue, where those associated infrastructure improvements will take place as designed in the PUD. I believe that otherwise, from a standpoint of buffers and landscaping, this is probably the most significant amount of language we've put in any PUD regarding how it impacts visibility off-site. Double-sized buffers and other landscape yards, which the applicant is agreeable to do. And with that in mind, our recommendation is for approval of the request, the plan of service, the annexation, as well as the zoning. Excuse me. I do believe there's representative of the applicant and some other folks who may be here to speak to it as well. So unless you have specific questions or comments for me, I'll stand back for a minute.
Thank you, Mr. Varnell. Any comments or questions for Mr. Varnell representing the city? Thank you, Mr. Varnell.
I've got one.
Yes, sir.
Councilman May?
This piece of property did go before the planning commission, the county, they denied it, then before it came to the city.
That is my understanding, yes. Most of the comments from that meeting were about landscaping and truck traffic and infrastructure, which is why we angled for the PUD.
Any other questions? Thank you, Councilman. Thank you, Mr.
Thank you.
Varnell. We will now invite anyone who would like to speak in favor of this request. Please come to the podium and identify yourself for the record.
Good afternoon, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. My name is Travis Henry. I represent the property owner, Lynn Jones, with regard to this request. And just some basic information about this. As Mr. Varnell pointed out, this is a PUD development that it consists of, when it's completed, we believe it will be approximately a $70 million project that will include development of commercial warehouse space, as well as a sports training facility that will be located on this property. We believe that this offers a great opportunity to not only address the need of our community to have commercial warehouse space. I understand that the chamber is in support of this development and has expressed that to my client, but it also does it in a way that addresses the reality and the concern of that there's residential property nearby. This is, of course, located on Michigan Avenue, which is a unique area which has this mix of industrial and residential property already in existence there. And so my client has made every effort to try to address those concerns of adjoining property owners. Councilman May, to your question, this did go before the county. That was a different proposal, slightly different proposal, in that it had the traffic going on to Wilkerson and it would have the truck traffic coming onto there. Since then, based off of the communication with the City Planning Commission, we've revised this plan. So basically that this property is completely insulated from the residential aspect. There will be no truck traffic that would be coming onto Wilkerson. It'll have its own access onto Michigan Avenue. A couple of components about this that are interesting that I think are beneficial in other ways are that it will include improvements to Michigan Avenue, which will help with regard to that. I understand that is a need that we have, and so my client is willing to undertake those. There also is a commitment from my client that 6 acres of this property, which is located on Michigan Avenue, will be dedicated to the city for municipal purposes. And so he is willing to convey that to the city. A part of this as well is that there is a back component, or to the south of this property, there's a portion that we have reserved that will be for residential purposes that my client intends to likely sell off, that will continue to be for residential. That will have access off of Wilkerson and can be addressed in the future development, but that is part of this as well. So overall, we believe that this is an opportunity for us to expand our commercial property, but to do it in a way that's sensitive to the residential component that is nearby. And some of the concerns that had been expressed previously had to do with traffic. Of course, when you think about other alternatives for this property, if it's residential property, that's going to actually have more traffic and greater traffic than what we're talking about, our intended use. And as Mr. Varnell also said, that my client is agreeable to the conditions of the PUD, that this have the most stringent buffering requirements, so that he's willing to commit the property to those requirements as well. Questions that you may have with regard to this?
Thank you, Councilman.
When you were talking about traffic,
Yes, sir.
yeah, you would be bringing large trucks to it,
Yes, sir.
not just automobiles or pickups.
That's correct. It will likely involve trucks, but we're creating an access off of Michigan Avenue, so it'll have its own access that would not touch Wilkerson Road.
Yeah, but the trucks would run up and down Michigan Avenue Road.
Yes, sir, they do, yeah.
Which we're in a problem with. In fact, I think we had a fatality, maybe 3 weeks ago. A large truck got off the right of way, got off in the right of way, and the driver was killed. So that's a concern of mine.
Sure, absolutely. I think for all of us, it's a concern. But I would point out that, of course, this is already in existence on Michigan Avenue. Directly across the street, there already is an industrial use there. So I think that if traffic is the concern, again, if this goes residential, you're going to be increasing the traffic significantly more than this intended use would. Other questions that you may have?
Any other questions for the
The 6
Counselor?
acres, where is that going to be? Is that going to face the Wilkerson Road area, going down, like you drive down Wilkerson Road?
Yes, I believe it's directly on the corner of that property of Wilkerson and Michigan Avenue is with regard to where that is planned currently.
Any other questions for Mr. Henry? Counselor, does your client, he was made aware of the traffic study and the safety studies of Michigan Avenue that the MPO has undertaken to greatly increase and enhance. Is he agreeable to cooperate with
Yes, sir.
those changes? And then,
Absolutely.
because that will be a large part of the front of his
That's
property.
exactly right, yes.
And that will be required going forward to make Michigan Avenue safer from end to end.
Yes, thank you for mentioning that, Mayor. That is exactly right. That is part of what he is committed to doing, is assisting with those improvements to help make Michigan Avenue safer. And so this is an opportunity to address those prior concerns that the council has expressed.
All right. Any other comments or questions from the council?
Thank you
All
very
right.
much.
Thank you, Mr. Henry. Is there anyone else who wishes to speak in favor of this request? Please signify at this time. I'll take my glasses off so I can actually see everybody. Seeing none, anyone like to speak in opposition to this request? Please signify by your hand and identify yourself at the podium.
I'm Lake Mantus, and I own 4-Star LLC. I would say that we're probably in a joint venture with Horton Homes to do this project. And The budget on this project's $150 to $160 million. We don't know how much just exactly yet, but that's the close budget numbers. We finished phase one, started in 15th of October. We got 39 houses complete, have 30 of those houses already sold. So we do think it's gonna be a good development for us with numbers like that. But we're against this property being warehouses or zoned for light industrial for the simple reason we're worried about our property values. And when we lose money, the city loses money because property values come down, taxes come down. You don't have as much revenue as we do either. So we'd like to see a no vote in this for that reason. We don't have a problem with it being annexed. We don't have a problem with it being annexed or going to residential. We don't have a problem with the competition. We just don't want the truck traffic in there. I don't know what it is, but I've talked to everybody in that community and nobody wants it. And we're worried about they won't be the only people that perceives the same opinion that we have. So we'd like to see a no vote on this.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else wish to speak? I say identify yourself, although we already know.
Some people don't. I'm Chuck Atchley. I live on Wilkinson Road. Lived out there almost 26 years, going up on that. And I guess I've gone back to Councilman May's point. I've gone through this, through the planning commission at the county commission, through our planning commission. Now, finally, we're all here. And nothing's really changed. I mean, they had a conceptual plan over there. It's a conceptual plan today. And we can call it PUD, we can call it anything we want to, but we all know that that can change. My biggest objection to it is it's bounded on 3 sites by residential property today. To the east, to the north, and to the south. Yes, there is industrial property, to their point. All that industrial property is on the west side of Michigan Avenue Road. So they're sticking this, and I like the analogy, they've taken this whole thing and they're trying to make a square peg fit in a round hole. And then they're putting buffering around it, so-called buffering and trees, flowers, and whatever, and saying, well, tell me it's pretty. You know, well, we've done twice as much. Well, maybe you have, maybe you haven't. My last part of this is the truck traffic that's going to be, if you look at the lay of the land and how it comes out, something, and it's hard enough to get on Wilkinson Road today. There's a pole that blocks your way just for vehicles, normal vehicles. But where they're coming out is just below Wilkinson Road. There'll have to be something there to stop the trucks or stop the traffic so trucks can get out. Trucks can't. I mean, they're coming uphill. If they come to a stop, they're not going to be able to adequately, you know, get a turn left. Yeah, they can put, you know, lanes in on the right and they can get them off on the right-hand side. But they've increased the truck traffic and they've increased the safety hazard. That's all I've got, and I appreciate your time.
Thank you. All right. We've heard from those in favor. We've heard from those in opposition. Any other comments, questions, or concerns from the council? Seeing none, I'll declare this public hearing to be closed. Item B is a public hearing to hear comments concerning a request by Lydia Nascimento for consideration of a plan of service, a resolution to annex, and an ordinance to zone 0.24 acres of property located at Young Road from unincorporated county to R1 single-family residential. Was approved by the Planning Commission 9-0. I'll declare this hearing to be open. Mr. Barnell, we hear your staff comments.
Yeah, just a few quick comments. I think some of this was mentioned at the 1 o'clock meeting. This property is contiguous inside the growth boundary. It is a single-family home, and their primary objective is to attach to the sewer, which is also directly across the street. Those numbers have been provided to the applicant through the plan of service provided by Cleveland Utilities. And city staff recommends approval of plan of service annexation as well as the zoning to R1. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Barnell. Anyone like to speak in favor of this request? Please signify. Seeing none. Anyone like to speak in opposition to this request? And like sign, seeing none, we will declare this public hearing to be closed. Item C is a public hearing to hear public comments concerning CT Properties request, consideration of an ordinance to zone 1.71 acres located at 18th Street, zoning it from R1 single-family residential zoning to R2 low-density single and multifamily zoning district. This was approved by the Planning Commission 9-0. I'll now declare this public hearing to be open. Mr. Varnell, welcome back.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The applicant began discussions concerning the development of the property utilizing cluster-style development, which can be done with an R1. It's a 4,000 square foot lot, as opposed to the R2, which is 5,000. Cluster-style development requires that a certain percentage of open space be set aside. When you're talking about 1.17 acres, that amount is minute, and it ends up being something that nobody mows or cares for. It's something that the city will end up dealing with down the road. So my recommendation was to look at the R2 as a possibility as opposed to that. The property is deed restricted for single-family residential homes, and so I know that that's all that can be built there. So that's why I said maybe look at that. This gives you a cleaner version. The R1 would allow, as is, 7,500 square foot lots, or if they did the cluster, it would be the 4,000 square foot lots. They'd end up about the same amount that this would allow them without that set-aside open space that would be fairly minute. So I'm happy to answer if there's any other questions.
Any questions for Mr. Varnell? Thank you, Mr.
Thank
Varnell. I'll now ask for anyone who would like to speak in favor of this request. Please signify by your raised hand. Seeing none, anyone like to speak in opposition to this request, like sign. Seeing none, we will declare this public hearing to be closed. It takes us to item D, which is a public hearing to hear public comment concerning a request by Southeast Land Trust for consideration of an ordinance to zone 1.15 acres located at Old Tasso Road from IL Light Industrial zoning to R2 Low Density Single and Multifamily. This was approved by the Planning Commission 9-0. I'll declare this public hearing to be open. Mr. Varnell?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is the western side of Old Tasso where our slope begins. We've had multiple parcels come through along that side of the road over the past few years to rezone it from industrial to R2. We've had several, most of it's the townhome style development that you see in the area. I believe that's what the applicant is hoping to do at this 1.15 acres. Staff recommends approval due to the nature of the land itself. It lends itself better to that style development.
Thank you, Mr. Varnell. Any questions for Mr. Varnell? Anyone like to speak in favor of this request? Please indicate by your lifted hand. Seeing none, anyone like to speak in opposition of this request? Like sign. Seeing none, I will declare this public hearing to be closed. Takes us to item E as in Edward, which is a public hearing to hear public comments concerning a request by the City of Cleveland to amend multiple areas of Section 5.0 of the sign ordinance pertaining to temporary signage and height of signage. It was approved by the Planning Commission 9-0. I'll declare this public hearing to be open. Mr. Varnell, your report.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As we discussed a little bit at 1 o'clock, we've got a proliferation of smaller signs all over parcels, the flags, the varying things. What this does is give staff the ability to manage those a little bit better regarding where they can go, how many of them can go, you know, our right of way, sight distance, sight triangle, all those things we're looking at. And it will reduce the amount of these signs that you'll see and the type that you'll see out and about, and the longevity that they can be out as well. It also does some things like cleans up various points of the sign ordinance regarding the maximum height of a sign and things like that. So it's fairly straightforward. We're cleaning some stuff up and making some slight adjustments to enhance our visibility and safety, which is what we always want to do.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Varnell. Anyone have any questions for Mr. Varnell? I actually do.
Okay.
Would this include what I would consider pylons? There seems to be some businesses up on the north end with sort of concrete protective pylons, maybe protecting their signs or
Yeah,
big green power
and,
boxes.
and those are types of signs that would still be allowed. It's the pylon sign versus just the monument style. It still allows both, but it does give a maximum height to what those can be, which doesn't currently exist.
Certainly. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Anyone like to speak in favor of this requested change? Seeing none, anyone like to speak in opposition of this amendment to the code? Seeing none, I will declare this public hearing to be closed. Item F is a public hearing to hear comments concerning a request by Phoenix, Cleveland, Tennessee industrial investors for consideration of an ordinance to zone 3.37 acres of property located at 455 Inman, zoning it from Central Business District to Commercial Highway. This was denied by the Planning Commission 7-0. And I'll now declare this public hearing to be open, and Mr. Ronell, hear your report.
Yes, sir. We also spoke about this one at 1 o'clock. This was a rezoning request from the applicant. Staff had recommended denial. The Planning Commission also went with that recommendation based on the future of downtown, the visions and goals that we've been working towards downtown, as well as my commentary and my discussions with the applicant was there's a way for us to make this happen and everybody benefits, but you're gonna have to work with me and the rest of staff on how that will look and how it feels, because the CBD overlay, you know, the development style downtown is gonna be different, and it's gotta look different, it's gotta feel different, and that's what we want it to do. That's our objective. We've got studies and plans. We've got redevelopment of properties that have already followed that template, and we're doing it ourselves with the Summit Cherokee Hotel. So much of staff's decision was it was counterproductive versus the progress we're already making. I don't want to take steps back. Let's keep going forward, and they could still be a part of that if they choose to be. That's their choice. But our recommendation was against that rezoning request. I'm happy to answer any specific questions anyone may have.
Any questions for Mr. Varnell? Would anyone like to speak, thank you, Mr. Varnell, would anyone like to speak in favor of this rezoning request? Please indicate by your raised hand. Seeing none, would anyone like to speak in opposition to this request? And seeing none, we will declare this public hearing to be closed. Takes us to item G, which is a public hearing to hear public comments concerning a request by Phoenix, Cleveland, Tennessee industrial investors considering an ordinance to zone 1.0 acres of property located at 601 8th Street. This says 8th on my notes. Is that 6th?
It is 8th is correct.
8th.
My apologies.
No, that's fine. It is zoning it from CBD, Central Business District, to Industrial, IL Light Industrial, and was also denied by the Planning Commission 7-0, with 2 members being absent. I'll declare this public hearing to be open. Mr. Varnell will hear your report.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Much echoing from my previous statements on the last request. Staff's recommendation on this one was approval of it, but originally, because it did match what they're looking to do, the Planning Commission went with the denial. They felt the consistency of their other request. They tied them together pretty well in our discussions, and I tend to agree with that thought process. This one isn't as, you know, the site has been redeveloped, it's in use, it's in business operation, however you want to say it. The zoning request isn't that impactful one way or the other. They can continue operations as is. There wasn't much conflict or issue with the Planning Commission going in that direction. I could see where they got there from, so.
All right, thank you, Mr. Varnell. Any questions for Mr. Varnell? Seeing none, would anyone like to speak in favor of this request? Please indicate by your raised hand. Seeing none, would anyone like to speak in opposition of this request? And like sign, seeing none, this public hearing will be declared closed. It takes us to item H, which is a public hearing to hear public comments concerning a request by Mr. Bowers for consideration of a proposal plan of service for a requested annexation by referendum for 57 acres of property located at Interchange Drive. This was approved by the Planning Commission 9-0. I'll now declare this public hearing to be open. Mr. Varnell, enlighten us.
I'll do my best. This is, as we said, a contiguous piece of property on more than one side. It's contiguous, but outside the urban growth boundary. Our preference would be to annex through the proper ways, which we're dealing with later in the meeting. But because of the urban growth boundary and whatnot being stopping at the edge right there by the interstate, this applicant has requested annexation as well as zoning for a future development of commercial highway in essence. A road will be connected through the site from Harris Creek Circle up to where the Toyota dealership is, as we stated before. That is something that was called out in an MPO plan as a recommendation from 2021, where we studied that whole western side of town, the Freewheel Road, as well as gaining access to Interstate 75. This creates access. In a sense, you can go from Eureka Road all the way to exit 20. So really from exit 33 all the way to exit 20, in one shot, kind of like a frontage road. It really creates a positive from a transportation standpoint that was called out with a state of Tennessee, Cleveland MPO, as well as Federal Highways planning study we did several years ago.
Thank you, Mr. Farnell. Any questions for staff? Seeing none, we will now ask if anyone would like to speak in favor of this request. Please indicate by your uplifted hand. Seeing none, anyone would like to speak in opposition to this request, like sign. Seeing none, we will declare this public hearing to be closed. Takes us to item number 7, which is the consent agenda. It was presented in our 1 o'clock work session and does require a motion from the council. It's a proper motion by Councilman Hughes. Is there a second?
Second.
Properly seconded by Councilman May. I heard Councilman May first, Vice Mayor. My apologies. Proper motion, proper second. All in favor? Oh, Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilman Hughes,
Aye.
Councilman May,
Aye.
Councilman Cassidy,
Aye.
Councilman Webb,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Johnson,
Aye.
Councilwoman McKenzie,
Aye.
Councilman Estes.
Aye.
That carries 7-0.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. That motion passes. It takes us to item 8, which is unfinished business, of which there is none. It takes us to item 9, which is the reports from council members, councilmen, and women. I apologize for not having this at the 1 o'clock session. We will begin today with 3rd District. Councilman Cassidy.
Thank you, Mayor. I have one thing. A couple of weeks ago, we had a situation off the Frontage Road in Paul Huff. Stacy, you're familiar with that area. Friday, I saw about 4 or 5 people walking up in that woods again. I've tried to figure out, is that a county property there? Tommy, can I ask of you, with the county, if you could put no trespassing signs up there between frontage, on back where the sign is in Paul Huff? I think the county owns that, and we're having squatters problems. We had a felony in there, we caught, but there seems like they're building that back in there. Paul Huff and frontage. You know where the billboard is going up the hill? I think that's the county, because can y'all help us out with that in order to get the squatters out of that area?
I'll give this to Lori and let her handle it.
What's that?
I'll give it to Lori and let her handle it.
I would appreciate it if they could get with Mr. Kimball and Joe Favis on that too, to see if y'all can help us with removing those people out of there. It's causing a lot of issues in that area. So, I would appreciate it, Commissioner, on that part. And that's all I have.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Well noted. Thank you, Councilman Cassidy. Councilman May.
Yeah, I've got one thing. Joe, Friday morning, I came through First Street Square and had staff working on it. Very impressed with the quality of the landscaping. And I was also impressed with, we've got staff that was working on the sprinkler system, putting new heads on or replacing bad heads. And we just need more of that, Joe. Which way you look?
He looks down at Jonathan.
Anyway,
we agree. I think that we have some work to do to get caught up in some of those areas, but we're using that project as kind of the template that we want to have all of our properties in the downtown to be converted to that level of quality.
Yeah, and I love good landscaping. It really promotes either the house you live in, the city, whatever. And staff has done a great job on that, and thank you.
Until we have 500 people trample it in the evening.
Well, now, this morning I went by, it didn't look as crisp as it did Friday, but it still was in great shape. So that's all I've got, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilman. And Councilman May, if you wouldn't mind, I'll echo that. I've had more positive comments
Yeah.
about the First Street Square uplift than any single thing in many, many months. And it would be remiss for us to not recognize the city and the staff that worked so hard to get it ready. And of course, the pictures of Friday night speak for themselves. Just job well done. So, Councilman, if you don't
And
mind.
the neat part, it was designed by staff, and it was put in by staff, and it's maintained by staff.
Councilman Castner?
I would like to thank Main Street too
Yeah.
for their activities and what they're bringing into downtown too. They're a big role, big part of that too,
Yeah.
so.
Right.
You'll take
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
And I'll add is that one has brought a lot of goodwill with all the residents that live there and all the business owners. I think it was, don't you agree, Sharon, that we've had a lot of good comments on just with the downtown businesses and taking pride in that stuff. So we've heard a lot of that, and it's,
Great.
that was the effect that we wanted to have.
And thanks to our partners at the Vaca Corporation as well. Commissioner Ledford, it's an honor to recognize you, sir. Yes, sir.
They're watching it. The county does not own that property on Frontage Road. It would, it's owned by a private property owner.
Okay.
Sorry,
Joe, can we see if we can get a hold of that property owner if it's possible?
It's in, if I understand, I believe it's in county jurisdiction,
Okay.
not necessarily owned by the county.
Okay,
County has an environmental officer.
okay.
we do. It's not county property, so he wouldn't, Tim is the one that is our environmental guy.
Yeah,
But if it's not county property,
Yeah, the county routinely, though, has an environmental officer that will take action against private properties in the county when there are violations of the county's environmental rules and regulations.
Okay, I deferred back to Tommy, if you could look at that and see if you've got an officer that could help us with that. It's not in it's not in the city, correct?
It is not.
It's not, so I need help from the county if that's possible. It's not in the city, it's not zoned in the city, so I may have help from the county. To put no trespassing signs up there, and if y'all can monitor that.
he'll get back with me in a minute, because they're
Okay.
listening and everything.
Okay, thank you.
This
I'm
is
sorry.
government in action, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm sorry
As quickly as possible.
railroading this thing.
It's very exciting. It's like CNN. It's happening right now, live. I need one little thing in my ear so I can hear the producer telling me. Councilman Hughes, 5th District.
All right. I'd like to ask the staff on the property at Paul Huff and Peerless Roads. We had 1,300 feet there that was in question for a long period of time, so we could not advance in any improvement. Apparently that's been taken care of with Mr. Palmer, is that right?
Our legal counsel said it would be resolved by end of August.
All right, coming off of exit 27, all the way down to Peerless Road, do we have any permits pulled for that area? Jonathan?
No, not, nothing has been pulled where they can start building.
The construction has started for both of those areas, Peerless Road as well as exit 27 up on the hill.
Yeah, all they have is tree clearing permit,
Say that again.
tree clearing permit,
Okay.
so they're logging the trees out.
Right. Thank you.
But as far as building permit, nothing has been submitted.
That's all I have.
All right, thank you, sir. Councilman Webb.
I want to follow up on the comments about First Street Square. If you haven't had the opportunity yet to visit the market that is developed there on Sundays, I would highly encourage you to. Diane and I were there over the weekend or Sunday and talked to several of the vendors, and apparently it's been a very successful venture. There were numerous people coming and going, visiting the vendors, buying local produce and other items. So I would just add to those comments about First Street Square.
Excellent, thank you. All right, Vice Mayor Johnson, you're recognized.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I just want the record to show that this year is the longest agenda that we've had for the city in 30 years. I've been here that long, so this is absolutely the longest agenda that we've ever had to deal with.
I did apologize earlier to the audience.
Whatever it takes, somebody's working awful hard for the city.
That's true.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, Vice Mayor, and that's a great point, that the staff works really hard to get all this, in order. And, Mr. Fivas, you're recognized.
Yeah, we did check in, there is sidewalks on, that to East Street.
Well, I'm gonna hold you to it.
All right.
Yeah. On the East Street. There's
Council-
69 items on the agenda, by the way.
69, yes, sir. Councilman Cassidy, you had a follow-up.
I do. Joe, I would challenge the staff to try to go paperless on this thing, because I don't know how many trees we killed by 550. Our budget is 450 pages. This is 550 pages.
It is.
So whatever we can do to go paperless, like the state's doing, like Mayor Brooks has talked about, I would love to see us do that and move that
Council
direction.
wants us to go paperless, we'll go paperless.
I thank you, Councilman Cassidy. I just remarked to him, he has his, hold that up, Councilman, he has his fancy new iPad here following along electronically, and the TASER Commission has just voted to go paperless in Nashville, much like Councilman Cassidy has, and I agree, it's a great idea to, we're a tree city, we're now a bee city, we ought to be a paper-free city, and we'll add some charging stations while we're doing that. That's another topic for another day. Councilwoman McKenzie, First District.
Well, I'll tell you, to piggyback on that, paperless, I have a request that the city offices not only go paperless, but we recycle our cans, our plastic containers. I would say paper, but now we're talking about going paperless. Any items that we could, we're doing a great job of beautification in Cleveland, First Street and the Johnson Park. That's just gonna be beautiful. But along with beautification, we need to think about recycling. So, because there's a larger picture, because there's so much that goes into our
The landfill.
landfill.
Correct.
That I think we could look at and maybe be a leader in recycling in our offices, if that could be looked into, Joe, checked out, and considered.
So you say like in this building, have boxes for cans and?
Yeah, to have some recycle things that they can just mark cans, and they can put their cans in, one marked plastic, put their plastics in, maybe throughout the city offices.
All right.
Not-
It's
not-
actually,
We can,
yeah.
if that's a request, that we can implement that and make that happen.
Councilwoman, it's actually very timely, because as Mr. Turner, I was looking in the back to see if Brian was still here, as they're picking out furnitures, fixtures, and equipment for the new city center, having all the receptacles to be the tri receptacles that have the already built-in slots, because all that's being done right now for the new buildings. And why not go ahead and implement that in advance? It's very timely. Good advice.
We can probably have that implemented in the next 30 days.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
Great. All right. Anything further, Councilwoman?
I just wanted to, I didn't say anything in the last meeting, but I kind of held it over for this one, because there was a lot of comments about it. But I did want to thank the staff for their hard work in balancing the budget and balancing for all the projects, because we've had a lot of projects going on ever since I came on. We've had project after project, and they've been able to balance all of that and not raise property taxes, and I just want to say thank you.
It's great. Good words. Not raise property taxes, Mr. Senior. Councilman Estes.
Thank you. Kathy Andrews and Bacher, I know have been appreciated. I think Kathy snuck out. The futsal court at Blythe Oldfield Park is gonna be a huge hit. They play futsal there every day already, and even the Bermuda grass can't keep up. So Kathy getting that grant through and done, and having that paid for by the state's wonderful. Bacher underwriting the concerts that here at First Street Square is wonderful. Christie, can I ask that the master facilities plan of the Cleveland City Schools be put into the minutes of this meeting today? So that'll be part of the permanent record. I know they can send it to you digitally, and that would be great. Okay. Thank you very much. Mayor and my colleagues, I'd like to add something to new business. I want to talk again about Second Street and Parker and a four-way stop. I know we asked city staff to look at that for this meeting. I just got some thoughts, and if it leads to a motion and a vote, great. If not, I just want to talk about it under new business. The last thing on this, I don't know.
Councilman, could I ask you what that Second Street and?
So right down here on Parker, Second and Parker.
Got it.
Does not have a four-way stop yet. We're putting one at Central and we have one at First. So
That-
I'm just gonna talk about that a little bit.
That will be added to new business
Yeah.
as item S is in street.
Thank you. And I was, this is for Tommy, and I know Tommy's not here, so I don't know exactly who, Jonathan maybe to get this, or Joe to get this to Tommy, and Brian already left. I've had questions about the fence, and I should have asked this when Brian was here, and I can't believe I just totally forgot. I've had questions about the fence around the detention pond on Carolina and 12th and 13th. Is it gonna be permanent? Is it not? Is it safe to have that not fenced? Because I go by there quite a bit. Sometimes the fence is up and then it's been taken down and now, yeah.
You know that off the top of your head?
We'll get you an answer, we'll send it to everyone.
I don't even need an answer, just as long as the city knows about it, and I feel like it's gotta have a fence, you know, for safety purposes, so just if you'll look into it, that'd be great. Mayor, that's all, thanks.
Thank you. And in closing from reports from council members, I just wanted to thank the staff. And again, Brian Turner's not here, but my family and I had a wonderful multiple visits to the recently improved Civitan Inclusive Park. And to say that that park is heavily used and amazingly well done is an understatement. It's full every time we go and is incredibly accessible and is just done so well. And people actually come up to our family and express appreciation, of which I need to give to the staff because it is their hard work that makes that park so beautiful. And I would be remiss for not bringing up that one as well. Any other comments from the council? Mr. Fivas?
And I think it's an important point, that we felt that Deer Park was getting completely overrun and still is. And I think we've given more opportunities, because I think there were people that were not going to Deer Park because it was just being overrun, and I think this really gave options to people to go to another very quality playground.
True. I did get a Facebook message, which is the worst way to communicate with the mayor, just put that on the record. I did get a Facebook message that the zip line at Deer Park was still not operational. Just
That's correct. It was stolen.
because that's what mayors do. We work on zip lines.
We have one of the pieces that's required to put it in, that has come in. The other one was on back order, and we're just waiting on that piece to come in.
So that's a great segue. Mr. Miller, do we have cameras at Deer Park? Do we know who stole that zip line?
That's why we have cameras.
We do have cameras, but they didn't happen to catch that zip line. Which means
All right.
we need more cameras.
We need more cameras to catch zip line vandals. All right, thanks very much. Takes us to new business. New business item A is a motion, council appointment to the Cleveland Utilities Authority for a term to expire June 30. Our friend and colleague, Councilman Dale Hughes' term expires 30 June, and we have the opportunity for a new appointment, and that does require a motion. Councilman Hughes, you asked to be recognized on that.
Mayor?
Yeah,
I'd like
Councilman
to-
Castro?
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion to put Mr. Ms. McKenzie on the utility board.
Second.
That is a proper motion. That's properly seconded by Councilman May. Any comments or questions from the council? Seeing none, Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilman Cassada,
Aye.
Councilman May,
Aye.
Councilman Hughes,
Aye.
Councilman Webb,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Johnson,
Aye.
Councilwoman McKenzie.
You can recuse yourself if you want to.
Just pass.
Or you can vote for yourself.
Yeah, you can
Councilman
vote for
Estes.
yourself.
I'll just say thank you.
That's carries 6-0 with one abstain.
6-0, that motion passes. Thank you, Mr.
Okay.
Clerk. All right, takes us to item B, approval of the Johnston Park redesign. It's in your packets on pages 172 and was explained at our 1 o'clock meeting.
So moved.
That's a proper motion by
Second.
Councilman May, properly seconded by Councilman Hughes. Any comments, questions, or concerns from the council? Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilman May,
Aye.
Councilman Hughes,
Aye.
Councilman Cassada,
Aye.
Councilman Webb,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Johnson,
Aye.
Councilwoman McKenzie,
Aye.
Councilman Estes. Carries 7-0.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Item C is a resolution 2024-58 concerning a request by Lynn Jones for consideration of a plan of service for 87.5 acres for property located at the corner of Michigan Avenue and Wilkinson Road. It was approved by the Planning Commission 8-0, and this does require a motion by the council.
I make a motion to deny.
Second.
That is a proper motion by Councilman May, properly seconded by Vice Mayor Avery Johnson. Motion to deny. Councilman Casta?
That would be a, okay, that's fine.
So
That's fine.
this is, for me, I'll speak, this is a plan of service. I make a substitute motion to approve.
Plan of service, substitute motion to approve by Councilman Estes. That is a substitute motion and now requires a second.
Second.
Substitute motion has been seconded by Vice Mayor Avery Johnson. That is overrides the original motion. That is proper motion by Councilman Estes, properly seconded by Vice Mayor Johnson to approve the plan of service. Any comments, questions from the council? Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
So let me get it clear.
Certainly.
The vote yea and nay, how is that on this?
This is now a substitute motion by Estes to approve the plan of service.
If that is approved, it overrides my motion.
Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilman Estes,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Johnson,
Aye.
Councilman Cassada,
Nay.
Councilman May,
No.
Councilman Hughes,
No.
Councilman Webb,
No.
Councilwoman McKenzie.
No.
That's, fails 5-2.
The substitute motion by Estes to approve the plan of service fails. We are back on the original motion to deny by Councilman May, seconded by Vice Mayor Johnson. We are back on the original motion to deny. Is there any comments or questions from the council? Seeing none, Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilman May,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Johnson,
Aye.
Councilman Cassada,
Aye.
Councilman Hughes,
Aye.
Councilman Webb,
Aye.
Councilwoman McKenzie,
Aye.
Councilman Estes.
No.
That carries 6-1.
The motion to deny carries for the plan of service.
Can I ask a point of order, or maybe a point of question for council?
Yes.
Mr. Kimball, does that make the next two moot?
That same question.
No, but you can't have an annexation without an approved plan of service. So if you were to pass the annexation, you can't have an annexation without a plan of service. So it would be incongruous, but it's on your agenda to vote. So to be
Okay.
consistent, you would vote the same way you just did.
All right, thanks. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, sir. Yes, sir, Mr. Fivas?
However the process goes is that you may want to ask the applicant that there may be other reasons they want to have it annexed in and work on the zoning. So
So a proper motion from the council would be to table the next items D and E until a future meeting?
No, that's not what I'm saying.
No, because you would redo the plan of service and come back with a new annexation request if there was a different reason he wanted to be annexed. Presumably, he doesn't want to be annexed if he can't get the rezoning to use the property the way he wants to use it. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
But if he changed his mind and said, okay, I'd like to be in the city for a different reason, the new plan of service, he can always go back to the planning commission and start over.
So the dispositions of item D and E, Counselor.
I'm just making the observation that 6 out of 7 of you voted to deny plan of service. To be consistent, you would not want to annex it without a plan of service, and you would not want to approve a rezoning if you not approve the plan of service and you're not annexing. It doesn't make any sense. The only thing that would make sense would be a consistent vote on the next 2 items, just like you just voted. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir. So that takes us to item D as in David. Item D is Resolution 2024-59 concerning a request by Lynn Jones for consideration of a resolution to annex 87.5 acres for property located at the corner of Michigan Avenue Road and Wilkinson Road. It was approved by the Planning Commission 8-0, 1 recused. Does require a motion from the council.
I make a motion to deny.
That is a proper motion by Councilman May. Is there a second?
Second.
Properly seconded by Ken Webb. Any comments, questions from the council? Seeing none, Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilman May,
Aye.
Councilman Webb, Councilman Cassidy, Councilman Hughes,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Johnson,
Aye.
Councilwoman McKenzie, Councilman Estes.
No.
Carries 6-1.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Motion to deny passes. Item E, zoning ordinance 2024-24 concerning request by Lynn Jones for consideration of an ordinance to zone 87.5 acres for property located at Michigan Avenue and Wilkinson Road from unincorporated county to PUD 51. This was approved by the Planning Commission 8-0.
I make a motion, we deny.
Motion to deny by Councilman May. It's a proper motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Properly seconded by Councilman Webb. Any comments, questions, or concerns? Yes, Councilman Estes?
Yeah, Christie, I know that the planning commission's minutes go in, but I also would ask that in the record goes in the second proposal put together by the applicant with the extra buffering, an explanation of the buffering, how the ingress egress will be held. The only thing, and that you put the backside of the property was the only thing in the PUD that was left up for negotiations in the future. Planning Commission did a lot of work, I just want this to be on the record, did a lot of good work, tried to craft something that was amenable and that protected the citizens. City staff did a lot of work. Vote how you want, I just want that in the record, thank you.
There's a proper motion by Councilman May to deny, properly seconded by Councilman Webb. Any additional comments or questions from the council? Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilman May,
Aye.
Councilman Webb,
Aye.
Councilman Cassidy,
Aye.
Councilman Hughes,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Johnson,
Aye.
Councilwoman McKenzie, Councilman Estes.
No.
Carries 6-1.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Motion to deny passes. Takes us to item F, Resolution 2024-60, concerning a request by Lydia Nascimento for consideration of a plan of service for .24 acres of property located at Young Road. Was approved by the Planning Commission 9-0. Does require a motion from the council.
So moved.
It's a proper motion by Councilwoman McKenzie. Is there a second?
Second.
Properly seconded by Councilman Estes. Any comments, questions, or concerns? Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilwoman McKenzie, Councilman Estes, Councilman Cassidy,
Aye.
Councilman May,
Aye.
Councilman Hughes,
Aye.
Councilman Webb,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Johnson. Carries 7-0.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. That motion passes. Takes us to item G, Resolution 2024-61, concerning a request by Lydia Nascimento for consideration of a resolution to annex 0.24 acres for property located at Young Road, approved by the Planning Commission 9-0. Does require a motion from the council.
Second.
Proper motion by Councilwoman McKenzie, properly seconded by Councilman Hughes. Any comments, questions, or concerns from the council? Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilwoman McKenzie. Councilman Hughes.
Aye.
Councilman Cassidy.
Aye.
Councilman May. Councilman Webb.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Johnson.
Aye.
Councilman Estes.
Aye.
Carries 7-0.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. That motion passes. It takes us to item H, zoning ordinance 2024-25 concerning a request by Lydia Nascimento for consideration of an ordinance to zone 0.24 acres located at Young Road from unincorporated county to R1 single-family residential and was approved by the Planning Commission 9-0. This does require a motion from the council. It's a proper motion by Councilwoman McKenzie. Is there a second? Properly seconded by Councilman Webb. Any comments, questions, or concerns from the council? Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilwoman McKenzie. Councilman Webb.
Aye.
Councilman Cassidy.
Aye.
Councilman May.
Aye.
Councilman Hughes.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Johnson. Councilman Estes.
Aye.
Carries 7-0.
Thanks, Mr. Clerk. That motion passes. Takes us to item I, zoning ordinance 2024-26 concerning request by CT Properties for consideration of an ordinance to zone 1.71 acres of property located at 18th Street Northwest from R1 single family to R2 low density single and multifamily. This was approved by the Planning Commission 9-0 and does require a motion from the council.
So moved.
It's a proper motion by Councilman Webb. Is there a second?
Second.
Properly seconded by Councilman Cassidy. Any comments, questions, or concerns from the council? Hearing none, Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilman Webb.
Aye.
Councilman Cassidy.
Aye.
Councilman May.
Aye.
Councilman Hughes.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Johnson. Councilwoman McKenzie. Councilman Estes. Carries 7-0.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. That motion passes. Item J, zoning ordinance 2024-27 concerning a request by Southeast Land Trust for consideration of an ordinance to zone 1.15 acres more or less of property located at Old Tasso Road from IL Light Industrial to R2 Low Density Single and Multifamily. This was approved by the Planning Commission 9-0. This does require a motion today from the council.
So moved.
Proper motion by Councilman May. Is there a second?
Second.
Properly seconded by Councilman Hughes. Any comments, questions, or concerns? Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilman May.
Aye.
Councilman Hughes.
Aye.
Councilman Cassidy.
Aye.
Councilman Webb.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Johnson. Councilwoman McKenzie. Councilman Estes. Carries 7-0.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. That motion passes. Takes us to item K, resolution 2024-62 concerning a request by Mr. Bowers for consideration of a proposed plan of service for a requested annexation by referendum for 57 acres of property located at Interchange Drive. It was approved by the Planning Commission 9-0 and does require a motion today.
So moved.
Second.
Proper motion by Councilman May, properly seconded by Councilman Webb. Any comments, questions, or concerns? Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilman May.
Aye.
Councilman Webb.
Aye.
Councilman Cassidy.
Aye.
Councilman Hughes.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Johnson. Councilwoman McKenzie. Councilman Estes. Carries 7-0.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. That motion passes. It takes us to item L, resolution 2024-63 concerning a request by Mr. Bowers for consideration of a proposed plan of service for requested annexation by referendum for 57 acres located at Interchange Drive and tax map 48. It was approved by the Planning Commission 9-0, but does require a motion today.
So moved.
Second.
Proper motion by Councilman Hughes, properly seconded by Councilman Cassidy. Any comments, questions, or concerns from the council? Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilman Hughes.
Aye.
Councilman Cassidy.
Aye.
Councilman May.
Aye.
Councilman Webb.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Johnson. Councilwoman McKenzie. Councilman Estes. Carries 7-0.
Thanks, Mr. Clerk. Item M, ordinance 2024-28, concerning a request by City of Cleveland to amend multiple areas of section 5.0 of our sign ordinance pertaining to temporary signage type and height of signs. It was approved by the Planning Commission 9-0. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Proper motion by Councilman Webb, proper second by Vice Mayor Johnson. Any comments, questions, or concerns for the staff? Seeing none, Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilman Webb.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Johnson. Councilman Cassada,
Aye.
Councilman May,
Aye.
Councilman Hughes,
Aye.
Councilwoman McKenzie,
Aye.
Councilman Estes.
Aye.
Carries 7-0.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. That motion passes. Takes us to item N, ordinance 2024-29, concerning a request by Phoenix Cleveland TN Industrial Investors for consideration of an ordinance to zone 3.37 acres of property located at 455 Inman from CBD Central Business District, rezoning to commercial highway. This was denied by the Planning Commission 7-0 with 2 absent. It does require a motion from this council.
I move for denial.
That is a proper motion by Councilman Estes. Is there a second?
Second.
Properly seconded by Councilman Cassada. Any comments, questions, or concern from the council? Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilman Estes,
Aye.
Councilman Cassada,
Aye.
Councilman May,
No.
Councilman Hughes,
Aye.
Councilman Webb,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Johnson,
I'm looking at it, but I'm wondering now, which, the motion that was stated
The motion is to deny.
to deny, okay. Aye.
Councilwoman McKenzie.
Aye.
That carries 6-1.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. The motion to deny passes. Item O, ordinance 2024-30, concerning a request by Phoenix Cleveland TN Industrial Investors for consideration of an ordinance to zone 1.0 acres of property located at 601 8th Street from CBD Central Business District to IL Light Industrial. This was denied by the Planning Commission 7-0, and it does require a motion from the council.
So moved.
Second.
And your motion is to deny. That is a proper motion to deny by Councilman Webb. That has been seconded by Councilman Hughes. Any comments, questions, or concerns from the council? Your vote today is a vote to deny. Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilman Webb,
Aye.
Councilman Hughes,
Aye.
Councilman Cassada,
Aye.
Councilman May,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Johnson,
Aye.
Councilwoman McKenzie,
Aye.
Councilman Estes.
Aye.
Carries 7-0.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. The motion to deny passes. Item P, ordinance 2024-31, amending various sections of Title 12 of the Cleveland Municipal Code to add a technology fee. This was discussed at our 1 o'clock meeting. Does require a motion from the council.
So moved.
Second.
Proper motion by Councilman May, properly seconded by Councilman Estes. Any comments, questions, or concerns from the council? Seeing none, Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilman May,
Aye.
Councilman Estes,
Aye.
Councilman Cassada,
Aye.
Councilman Hughes,
Aye.
Councilman Webb,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Johnson,
Aye.
Councilwoman McKenzie.
Aye.
Carries 7-0.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. That motion passes. Takes us to item Q, Resolution 2024-64, adding a technology fee and to various planning and zoning fees. This does require a motion from the council.
So moved.
It's proper motion by Councilman Webb, properly seconded by Councilman Estes. Any comments, questions, or concerns from the council? Seeing none, Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilman Webb,
Aye.
Councilman Estes,
Aye.
Councilman Cassada,
Aye.
Councilman May,
Aye.
Councilman Hughes,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Johnson,
Aye.
Councilwoman McKenzie.
Aye.
Carries 7-0.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. That motion passes. Item R is Land Bank Authority appointment. Mr. Fivas, I'll defer to you.
I'll defer to Dustin Tomey.
Mr. Tomey, you are recognized.
Mr. Mayor, City Council, thank you for your time. The reason I'm here today talking about the Land Bank Authority appointment is because we need to change the composition of the board just a little bit. At our most recent meeting, Jared Castile, who is the chairman of our board, he offered his resignation. He has he's an attorney with Chambliss Law Firm, and they have done so much work in understanding the law that the land bank statute has that we're operating within. And instead of being on the board to ensure transparency and to avoid any potential concerns, he's resigning from that role, and we are needing to replace him with another board member. And this is the body that nominates the board appointments for the land bank. It's common in this scenario to have recommendations from the board, and it was unanimously discussed at our last meeting that County Commissioner Cindy Slater be considered for an appointment. And the thought behind it is so much of the success of land bank work is dependent on partnerships between the city and county, and she represents a district that is very much in the focus of the land bank, and we believe that her experience and perspective would be invaluable. As Jared resigned, the board made Vice Chairman Bill Martin the interim chairman of the board, and the board also, the idea was so that we don't lose Jared's expertise, to name him an ex officio non-voting member for the next year. And these things were unanimously discussed by the board members, and I'm happy to answer any questions, but also Councilman Estes and Councilman Webb are members of that board and can speak to that as well.
Certainly. Thank you, Mr. Tomney. Any questions for Dustin as he's at the podium? Councilman Estes, Councilman Webb, any comments, considerations, motion?
Well, I think we can make a motion, but go ahead if you.
I'll make a motion that we approve the recommendation of the Land Bank Authority and the member.
As being Commissioner Cindy Slater.
Yes.
All right. That is a proper motion by Councilman Webb. That is a proper second by Councilman Estes.
Dustin, Mr. Tommy, did Ms. Slater kosher with all this?
She is.
Okay, yep, thanks.
All right. So again, proper motion by Webb, properly seconded by Councilman Estes. Any comments or questions for the addition or?
Just to clarify, Bill Martin would be the new chair.
Interim.
New member Cindy Slater, interim chairman Bill Martin. All right.
Mayor,
Councilman.
I would make one comment. Yes, Cindy Slater has been asked to serve and will make an excellent member. She is a member of the county commission, but there's nothing in this that allocates a slot on that board to a county commissioner. She just happens to be one. I think it's important we make that clear.
Certainly.
And just for everybody, Ken and I have a steep learning curve here on the Preservation Act with state law. And we have to have the assistance of the county to do what we need to do. Crystal Freiberg and help as we put the tools into place. So, and Mr. Kimball, I know you've been doing a lot of work. Thank you very much. I mean, we don't see you, but I see your work, so thanks.
All right. So we have a proper motion, proper second. We have comments, questions, or concerns? Seeing none, Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilman Webb.
Aye.
Councilman Estes.
Aye.
Councilman Cassada.
Aye.
Councilman May.
Aye.
Councilman Hughes.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Johnson.
Aye.
Councilwoman McKenzie. Carries 7-0.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. That motion passes. Councilman Estes has requested the addition of item S, discussion on 2nd Street and Parker Street stop sign. Councilman Estes, you're recognized.
Yeah, I just want to have some discussion. If it leads to a motion, great. Dave Shealy was here last time talking about why we need a four-way stop set on Parker Street at 3rd and at 1st. Makes perfect sense. I asked him, and Councilman Webb asked him, well, what about 2nd? Why not? If you start on Broad, between 3rd and Inman, Broad, Ocoee Street, 1st Street, all have either a stoplight, four-way stoplight, or a three-way if it's a one-way around the courthouse, or a four-way stop sign all the way down. We're about to close Worth Street between Worth and 1st. You've got Trunk Street dead ends with stop sign. The only through route is the Edwards by the old hosiery mill, and that's not it's not a four-way. So in this 17 acres, everything will be a four-way stop except for this one intersection of Second and Parker. It makes perfect sense to me, especially after being at First Street Square on Friday night and walking down through crazy people driving. I don't know why, if you were there Friday night. I have no idea why cars were down there. It makes perfect sense, and it's congruent with the rest of downtown to turn this last intersection into a four-way stop when we do the same thing on Central and First. I'm open to other ideas if the city staff has them. I was hoping that Mr. Shealy would be here today. I don't know where this fell with everybody.
Thank you, Councilman. Any comments, questions from the council?
I think since we're making downtown pedestrian friendly, I'm in agreement with that, because it would slow traffic down, and it would make it the same.
Are you making a motion, Bill?
Is that in the form of a motion, Councilwoman
No, I
McKenzie?
was commenting on what he said, but
All
I
right.
think it would be good, but yeah, I'll make a motion for it.
Okay, so we have a motion from Councilwoman McKenzie,
I will second that.
and we have a proper second from Councilman Estes, and a third from Councilman Webb. It's very popular. Any other comments, questions, or concerns from the council? Seeing none, Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilwoman McKenzie?
Aye.
Councilman Estes? Aye. Councilman Cassidy?
Aye.
Councilman May?
Aye.
Councilman Hughes?
Aye.
Councilman Webb?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Johnson?
Aye.
Carries 7-0.
Councilman, thank you. Mr. Clerk, Councilman Cassidy, you're recognized.
Real quick, I just want clarification of ordinance 29 and 30, both of those have been denied, is that correct? Is that correct?
29, vote to deny, did pass. Items 30, vote to deny, did pass. That is correct.
Thank you.
30 was denied 7-0, 29 was denied 6-1.
Who was the one vote?
Mr. Clerk?
Councilman May?
Okay.
No.
Okay.
Councilman Estes?
That's fine, that's fine. That's all
All right.
Joe had.
Council,
No, 29.
No, I'm sorry,
29.
29, Councilman May.
yeah.
Joe had.
Mr. Fivas, yes, sir?
Two things. First of all, we're comfortable with the Second Street thing. Just, David was out on vacation, and then he came back with some type of illness, so he wasn't able to pull together the information, but I think we're comfortable with that. During the meeting, before you adjourn, we need to have the budget,
Tax ordinance.
It has been signed by all members.
Okay, all right. Good. Thank you.
Our one homework assignment has been completed.
It only took 3.5 hours.
Thank you, members of the council, for your agreement and signature on the budget document. That's the most important thing we did all day, with no tax increase.
What did you say?
With no tax increase.
Thank you, Mayor Davis. Oh, I mean Brooks.
Oh. All right, we have announcements. Item 11, nominees for the Urban Growth Committee are as follows. City Mayor Kevin Brooks, City Councilman Ken Webb, Jonathan Job, City Staff. The next announcement, city offices will be closed Wednesday, June 19, 2024, in observance of Juneteenth. Item C, the next city council meeting will be held in this chamber on Monday, June 24. Any additional comments, questions, announcements from the members of the council? We are adjourned.